Hello everyone. This presentation is about ecological succession and this is made by Cedal Wasawa. So what is the succession? Ecological succession is a gradual and continuous change in the species composition and community structure over time in the same area. According to E.P. Odup in 1971, the ecological succession is an orderly process of community change in a unit area. It is a process of changes in species composition in an ecosystem over time. In simple terms, it is the process of ecosystem development in nature. Process of ecological succession. Number 1 is nudation, the formation of a bare area or nudation by several regions such as volcanic eruptions, flooding, landslides, erosion, etc. Second one is invasion, arrival of the reproductive bodies or propagules of various organisms and their settlement in the new or bare area. Next one is competition and coaction, increase in number of species with the limited space. Other one is reaction, modification on the environment through the influence of the living organisms present on it. Reaction causes change in land, soil, water, temperature of the area. Stabilization or climax. Final or terminal communities become more or less stabilized for a longer period of time. It can maintain its equilibrium with the climate of the area. Final community is called the climate community, which is determined by the climate of the region. Example of climax communities are grassland, forest, coral reefs. Model of succession. Facilitation. The organism at a given successional stage make the environment more suitable for later successional stages. Example, lichene breaking down rocks into soil, nitrogen fixing plants improve fertility of soil and nurse plants. Second one is tolerance. The organisms of a given successional stage have little impact on later successional stages. Example, like old field succession. Next one is inhibition. The organisms at a given stage resist invasion by organisms of later stages. Succession proceeds when the individual of a given stage die. So you can see a diagram in front of your computer screen. Facilitation, tolerance model and inhibition model. So hydrosphere stages. Number 1 is phytoplankton. The pioneer stage of hydrosphere is the plankton stage. It consists of migrated spores of phytoplankton, diatoms, one-celled colonial or filamentous green and blue-green algae, green flagellates, etc. They are the pioneer species of hydrosphere. They remain floating or swimming at or near the surface of the water. Next is submerged stage. As a result of death and decomposition of phytoplanktons, a soft mud develops at the bottom of pond. This new habitat now becomes suitable for the growth of rooted hydrophytes like Myrophyllum, Elodia, Hydrilla, Vallisneria, etc. These plants further build up the substratum. This new habitat now replaces these plants, giving way to another type of plants of floating types. Floating stage. In the beginning, the submerged and floating plants grow intermingled, but very soon the submerged plants are replaced completely. The habitat becomes changed chemically as well as physically. The dead remains of plants are deposited at the bottom. The substratum rises up in vertical direction. The important plants of this stage are Nelumbium, Cepa, Pistia, Nymphia, etc. Reed serve stage. This stage is also known as amphibious stage, as the plants of this community are rooted, but most parts of their shoots remain exposed to air. Species of Scarpus, Typha, Sagittaria, etc. are chief plant of this stage. Their rhizomes form a dense vegetation. The water level is very much reduced and becomes unsuitable for growth of these amphibious species. Next is sage meadow stage. Further decrease in water level changes the nature of substratum. Species of some cypresses and gramineae, such as carex, juncus, cypress, and alocaris, the area to form marsh or swamp. Thus, soil fertilizers approach the area and marshy vegetation disappears gradually. Next one is woodland stage. In the beginning, some shrubs and later medium-sized trees form open vegetation or woodland. These plants produce more shade. They render the habitat more dry. The prominent plant of woodland community are species of Butea, Acacia, Cassia, Terminalia, Salix, etc. Forest stage. This is the climax community invaded by several trees. In tropical climate with heavy rainfall, they are developed tropical rainforest. In temperate regions, mixed forest of elmus, acer, and quercus are formed. You can see diagram in front of your computer screen from submerged to climax. Next is xerosear. Thus, xerosear originate on rock surfaces, which is an unweathered state. The pioneer to colonize this primitive type of substratum are lichens. In a xerosear, successive changes takes place in both plants and also in animals. The various stages are described below. Crustose, lichen stage. The soil is absent for the complete penetration of roots. Blue-green algae and lichens are the pioneer species. In polar climate, crustose lichens like rhizocarpon, deer, etc. are the common pioneers. They produce acids which bring about weathering of rocks. The dead organic matter of algae and lichens become mixed with the small particles of rocks to form a thin layer of moist soil on the rocks. Foliose lichen stage. They appear on the substratum, partially built up by the crustose lichens. It includes species of Parmelia, Dermatocarpon, which have large leaf-like thalli. The weathering of rocks mixed with humus results in the development of a fine thin soil layer on rock surface, and thus there is a change in the habitat. Next is moss stage. The development of thin humus rich soil layer on rock surface favors the growth of certain xerophytic mosses such as Graminia, Tortula, Polytrichum, Bryony, Barbula, and Funaria. Herb stage. Due to the extensive growth of mosses, more soil accumulates. Minerals are added to it due to leaching. This favors the growth of some herbaceous plants like Aristida, Festuca, Justicia, Tridex, etc. Shrub stage. Due to much accumulation of soil, the habitat becomes suitable for shrubs. Species of Rus, Phytocarpus, Gigifus, and Capels dominate this stage. The shrub overshadow the herbaceous vegetation and produce more organic matter. Forest stage, it represents the climax community. Due to the weathering of rocks, thin layer of soil is formed, which supports small trees like acacia, prosopis, boswellia, etc. Plants require high rainfall to reach climax stage in moist and wet climates and also in temperate climates. Dense climax forest is developed. You can see diagram in a computer screen from light gain to trace. Causes of succession. Initiating cause, activity of abiotic. It means light, temperature, water, fire, soil, erosion and wind. And biotic factors leads to formation of a barren area or destruction of the existing community of an area, initiating primary or secondary succession, respectively. Continuing causes, the processes of migration, aggregation, competition, reaction, etc. are the continuing causes which lead to change the plant communities and nature of the soil in an area. Stabilizing causes, the stabilization of the plant community in an area is primarily controlled by climatic factors rather than other factors. Thank you very much. We will meet in our next presentation.